Did you know that Joe Biden barely beats out Nikki Haley in a head-to-head matchup? According to a Harvard Caps Harris poll, Biden garnered 40% support compared to Haley's 38%. Did you know that Ron DeSantis could have a leg up in Iowa? DeSantis has received endorsements from 36 state lawmakers including State Senate President Amy Sinclair and House Majority Leader Matt Winskeitel. Did you know that Ron DeSantis will soon be entering the GOP presidential primary? According to the Wall Street Journal, DeSantis will likely file the pertinent paperwork on May 25 before formally announcing his campaign the following week. Did you know that Tim Scott has received his first Senate endorsement? It comes from Mike Rounds, who described Scott as being similar to Ronald Reagan. Scott has a long way to catching up to Donald Trump, who holds 11 Senate endorsements. Did you know that Alaska Senator Lisa Murkowski hopes for an alternative outside of Donald Trump and Ron DeSantis to become the GOP nominee for president? Murkowski also said that if either of them are the face of the party, the GOP is doomed in 2024. Did you know that the Senate GOP introduced a measure to ban drag shows and adult cabaret performances on military bases? Steve Daines introduced the legislation, which was sponsored by Tom Cotton, Ted Budd, Kevin Cramer, and Marco Rubio. Did you know that Donald Trump holds a lead among very likely Kentucky GOP primary voters? According to an Emerson College polling/Fox 56 Lexington poll, Trump garnered 70% support. DeSantis followed with 14%. Did you know that Greece appears to hold a double-edged economy? GDP grew by 8.4% in 2021 and 5.2% in the fourth quarter of 2022. However, inflation in 2022 sat at 9.3%. Did you know that Kentucky Attorney General Daniel Cameron won the GOP nomination for Kentucky's gubernatorial election? Cameron garnered 47.3% support during the primary. He will face incumbent Andy Beshear during the general election. Did you know that France saw its MPs approve a bill to speed up the construction of new nuclear reactors? The bill seeks to simplify the required administrative procedures and planning documents, which the government expects will reduce future construction times by at least 2 years. Did you know that Ron DeSantis signed a number of culture war bills? These prevent children from being exposed to drag shows, people from using government bathrooms that don't align with their sex, and children from being subjected to gender transitioning healthcare, including puberty blockers. Did you know that Marjorie Taylor Greene will be introducing articles of impeachment against Joe Biden? They are over Biden's handling of border security. House Republicans previously twice offered articles of impeachment against Biden during the 117th Congress when they were in the minority. Did you know that the UK will be scrapping Section 21? The clause allows landlords to evict tenants without giving a reason. The bill scrapping the measure will also seek to give people the legal right to request having a pet in their home, and landlords would not be able to unreasonably refuse such requests. Did you know that the US has seen its first state ban TikTok? Montana will ban the app in the beginning of 2024. App stores offering TikTok to the state's residents risk facing a penalty starting at a $10,000 fine per violation, and then $10,000 a day that a violation continues. Did you know that Ron DeSantis is still a candidate most GOP voters would be satisfied with? Despite his drop in the polls, an ABC News/Washington Post poll shows that 64% of GOP voters would be satisfied if DeSantis ends up the nominee while 23% would be dissatisfied. Did you know that Donald Trump holds a lead in a hypothetical GOP primary? According to a Harvard Caps/Harris poll, Trump garnered 58% support. DeSantis followed with 16%. Nikki Haley, Vivek Ramaswamy, and Mike Pence all tied with just 4% support each. Did you know that the Biden administration will be forming workforce hubs meant to meet labor demands? The hubs are aimed to create a diverse and skilled workforce through apprenticeship programs and in partnership with state and local officials, employers, unions, community colleges, high schools, and other institutions. Did you know that Donald Trump leads in a hypothetical GOP primary? According to a Morning Consult survey, Trump garnered 61% support. DeSantis followed with 18%. Mike Pence came third with 6%. Nikki Haley and Vivek Ramaswamy both held 4% support. Did you know that Donald Trump's positions on abortion or lack thereof have drawn pushback from conservative Christians? In an interview, Trump would not say if he would sign a 6-week ban on abortion but rather said he was looking at options. Trump also said he opposed strict bans as he supports exceptions in cases of rape and incest. Did you know that the EU has so far provided €3.6 billion for military support for Ukraine via the European Peace Facility? The EPF is an off-budget instrument geared towards preventing conflicts, enabling peace, and strengthening international security. The most recent aid package for Ukraine was blocked by Hungary. Did you know that the Kentucky gubernatorial election could be an uphill battle for Daniel Cameron? The primary saw Cameron's war chest depleted down to just $340,000, though he will be aided by the Republican Governors Association. Incumbent Democrat Andy Beshear holds over $7 million and will be aided by the Democratic Governors Association. Did you know that Nikki Haley sidestepped a question on abortion? When asked about what kind of limits on abortion she would seek if elected president, Haley said that nothing would happen if the GOP doesn't have 60 votes in the Senate and said that they aren't even close to that. Haley previously argued for an end to late-term abortions and has expressed support for contraception and adoption. Did you know that the Biden administration no longer sees the 14th Amendment as an option to lift the debt limit? The 14th Amendment has been speculated as giving the president the power to lift the debt ceiling without congressional action. When asked whether or not the president has the authority to raise the debt limit independently, Deputy Treasury Secretary Wally Adeyemo said Congress is to do the lifting. Did you know that Kentucky's GOP gubernatorial nominee could be difficult to predict? Polling for the primary has been lacking, and an April Fox 56/Emerson College poll showed Daniel Cameron holding 30% support. Kelly Craft followed with 24. 21% were undecided, and the margin of error was plus or minus 3.2 percentage points. Did you know that Poland received its first HIMARS rocket systems from the US? They are a part of Poland's order for 20 systems in 2019 for $414 million or €381 million. After HIMARS proved effective in Ukraine, Poland agreed to a deal to buy 18 launchers and 468 launcher loader module kits for $10 billion or €9.2 billion. Did you know that the Biden administration will be allocating almost $11 billion towards clean energy in rural America? $9.7 billion in the form of loans, grants, and loan modifications will go toward nonprofit companies that deliver electricity to communities to support the purchase of renewable energy, carbon capture or other zero-emission systems. $1 billion will be disbursed as loans for a range of institutions. Did you know that the Biden administration will buy up to 3 million barrels of oil to begin replenishing the Strategic Petroleum Reserve? Crude will be purchased at a lower price than the average of about $95 per barrel sold for in 2022. Since the start of the Biden presidency, the SPR has disbursed nearly 300 million barrels, much of which followed the invasion of Ukraine that saw gas prices rise to over $100 a barrel. Did you know that the Biden administration reported a drop in border encounters? According to Secretary of Homeland Security Alejandro Mayorkas, Border Patrol has seen a 50% drop in encounters at the southern border following the end of Title 42. This news comes as the ending of Title 42 was expected to be met with stronger migrant waves. To combat the waves, the Biden administration had organized 24,000 additional border agents.